Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome again to another painting tutorial. Today is Tuesday and it's 9:14 in the evening and I decided to paint in the kitchen area because I just like the light here and I'm in standing position, so I'm not painting on the floor, which is much more comfortable, and I feel like my posture is better this way. So I think I'll be painting here in the kitchen area from now on. So today I'll be doing a landscape painting and we'll be doing lots and lots of trees. And there's another pathway because the last time I did a pathway, actually it's a road. So this time I'll be doing a pathway right in the middle and the sides will be filled with trees. So this will be more of a dramatic effect autumn scene, and I hope you like this one. I'm gonna link in the description box below some similar painting tutorials that I've done in the past, and also I'm gonna write in the description box below the colors that we'll be using for today's painting tutorial. The colors that we'll be doing today are autumn colors, so we'll be using some browns, orange, yellows, and a little bit of greens. Actually, there are a lot of greens here, but there will be uh, more of turning yellowy color, so you can see the transition from um, summer to fall. All right, so I'm gonna sketch first the subject and I'm gonna show you where things are gonna go. So I'm just gonna wet my brush. Okay, and for the sketch I'll be using my black so that you can easily see it on my canvas paper. I'm using an 11 by 14 canvas paper, so the horizon will be right here. All right, just like that. And then using black again, I'm just gonna draw where the pathway is gonna be. So for you to have a guide, just try to meet this corner and that point, okay? So again, you start from here and start creating a diagonal line so that you create that pathway. Of course, I can make some adjustments later. I'm sorry about the noise, guys. You know, it's late in the evening, but still it's noisy in the streets, which I do not have any control over. All I can do is to position myself in the most peaceful place in my house, which I thought it's the kitchen. All right, so I'm gonna do the background first of above the horizon line so that we don't go back to this area once the trees are already in place. So I'll be using a larger brush just for me to get a wider coverage. So I'll be using this brush. Okay, it's pretty, it's relatively large. Um, for this canvas paper size. So for the background, we will be using more blurry colors. So I'll be getting my black and white. So I'll be doing some grays first. I'll be mixing blue and yellow, something like bluish grayish in the background, but make sure that you add a little bit of brown so that you tone the colors down. All right. Okay, and I'll be using now this color. You know, a lot of this area will be painted over with some trees anyway, but we want to make sure that this color, you can even add a little bit of black here and there, just to add some sort of variety, not variety, but different shades right here in the background. Again, this area will be filled with lots and lots of trees. So don't you worry too much about not getting the exact color. The color that I'm using, as long as it is consistent with the colors of nature. You can add a little bit of orange, but I'm using browny colors because it's the background. So the orange color don't really appear orange from the distance, but they appear more lighter, like this. So I'm just gonna spread some browny colors here and there just to be random and more natural looking. Just continue doing this one. It's not really a big thing. You can even do this after, but for me to save time, and I really don't want to go into those tight spaces after the painting is already done, almost done. So I'm doing this first. And I think it's just more practical, time wise, and of course, more comfortable for me to just getting the background done already. Okay, I'll be adding more greens in the background. Again, tone that colors down. I mean, those colors down. Always tone the color down when we're doing the background since they don't really appear super bright. Since number one, they are in the background, and number two, they are far from the viewer, which means the distance cannot really be seen from the point of view of the person looking at your painting. All right, I think this is good. I'm just gonna add a little bit of random black colors just to add some depth in the background. Okay. All right. I'm not really worrying too much about this area. Again, this is the background and it will be painted over later. So I'm not planning to change my brush at this time. I'm just gonna grab some white and blue. So I'm just gonna mix those two colors and I think this is too much. Okay. I'm gonna color the center with this color. Doesn't have to be in any particular shape. We just want to brighten the center because this is where the light will be the most brightest and the most bright in this area. All right, just like that. We can leave it like that for now. We can simply go back to this area later because this is just a guide of where things are going to go. This is not the actual image that we want to achieve. All right, now I'm going to underpaint the sides and, of course, the pathway. So for the size, I think I'm just gonna go for brown and black. Doesn't really matter. As long as it's underpainted. The purpose of underpainting is to have some depth, some shadows, and to make your painting look more solid. Okay. It will look more solid when you underpaint it. I used to not do underpainting in the past. I go straight away with the painting. And while it worked for me, I saw the difference when I started to underpaint. Okay. And for the pathway, right, for the pathway, the color will be more gray. Okay, I'm going to add more black to this area just to add more depth. Again, we are in the preliminary stage of the painting, so don't you worry too much. I'm going to change my brush now. You can simply wash your brush out, but if you have a lot of brushes, try to use them, all of them, so that you know that's how you own your brush. You use them. Okay, but I'm just gonna wash this brush because I like the size of it. And I'm gonna underpaint now the pathway. Again, we're gonna use the color gray. So I'm just gonna mix my white and black, but I'll be adding more black. Make sure that it's dark gray. Remember that we're still doing the underpainting. It is supposed to be dark. Maybe it is dark. Again. While we painted some areas with a brownie color, try not to lose track of your sketch. Right? Right. This is the underpainting. Okay, I'm gonna darken it. I feel like it's too light for my liking. Make sure your brush strokes is going horizontally, not vertically. While you see me do some diagonal and vertical, I still go back to horizontal lines, okay, because that's the brush strokes that we want to see on the pathway. We don't want to do diagonal lines. I'm just using that to cover the bowed areas, but uh, I would later on do some horizontal brush strokes. Okay, make this area solid. All right, so we're done underpainting the canvas, and now we'll be doing some trees. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of these areas in the just above the horizon line will be painted over with the trees, but we want to make sure that it's underpainted because we really don't know the randomness of the leaves that will come out later, that will come up later. And we don't know the negative spaces, so we might as well put the colors in there already so that we don't have to go back and paint the tiny spaces in between. And for the tree trunks, I'm just going to use my black. And again, this is very preliminary. It's like just a sketching where things are going to go. It's not the color of the trees that we'll be painting. The purpose of this is to just identify where the trunks are going to go. So for the first tree, right here, okay, you can make your trees curvy a little bit, you know, um, crooked. Yeah, that's what I suppose. That's what I was supposed to say. And then right beside it. And then of course you also follow the rules of perspective. And that is when you're looking at this image, as you go up towards the horizon line, the trees are getting shorter. Okay. It seems like they are getting shorter and the size is getting smaller. Okay. And the way they appear, they become more like fading away. Okay. That's how perspective works. Because if they are all looking of the same size, if they are of the same tones, they look flat and they don't look as realistic as I want it to, and that's my style. I mean, I try my best to make the painting look painterly, but at the same time make sense in the real world. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna make this tree a little thicker, but of course, you follow the rules of perspective. We shorten the length. Okay. The appearance of it, only the appearance. We don't actually shorten it, but the way it appears should be like that simply because it's going away from us, it's farther from us. I'm using now black and combination of brown just for the tree trunks. You can start creating some little tiny branches. Okay, while I told you that some tree trunks, as they appear or as they go away from us or farther from us, we make them appear more blurry. I'm not going to suggest that you do the blurring right now. We can do that later. Just draw where things are going to go first before trying to create a perspective color wise. We can simply blur this later. It's super easy. Okay, so I'm just going to apply tiny suggestions of trees. I can blur it without having to change my color by just gently applying the paint. And then And just continue it. Actually, this is super fun. There's nothing really that is not fun here because I love landscapes. Landscapes are like my go-to. I think I've mentioned that in the past. So I'm just gonna continue. I'm gonna make a big tree right here. You can create some branches. Of course, you can create some. Remember to make your trees look more natural. And when I say look natural, it means you don't draw your trees as if you're drawing sticks. You're drawing straight lines. You just don't do it that way. All right. Okay, like that. Ooh, I'm just so excited to finish this one. And also, you can make your painting look more crooked. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to switch to a thinner or more pointy brush just for me to be able to create some branches, tiny branches. And I'm still going to use my black paint. And I'm going to start creating some tiny branches. Make sure that these branches are there. You don't want to miss doing this part. You don't want to miss this part simply because it's going to make your painting look more real. Okay. Of course, I need more black paint because my black is already gone. I just ran out of black. So just refill your palette if you're already needing some colors, just like me. Okay, again, just try to make your painting look more natural by not particularly doing a line. And I'll be using a little bit of black color on some areas of the trees. So the light will be coming from here, from the right side. So you will see later that the left side will be more bright and the left side, this will be brighter, but um, the left side of the trees will be darker. If that makes sense. So the left side of the painting will look brighter, this part. However, the left side of the tree trunks will be darker. I hope that makes sense. I hope it does not confuse you when I was talking about the direction. Yes, I'm just going to darken this area. All right, just like that. Okay, now we can proceed to doing some details on the tree trunks. So I'll be getting my black again, and I'll be getting my white to create some gray, but this time I'll be adding brown, okay, just to not remove from the tree the browny color of the tree trunks. So we'll be using our palette knife later, but for purposes of beginning this highlighting portion, we use our brush. So I'll be, again, highlighting the right side of the trees on the left side of the painting. Yeah, I think that's the best way I can explain the direction. And of course, when you look at the painting, when you watch this, you'll understand, you will get what I mean. So I'm just highlighting this side of the tree trunks on the left side. And I'm also just allowing the brush to do the job for me, not really, you know, creating a specific line, but I'm just trying to make it more spontaneous. Okay, just like that. Now using some black, let's go back to those highlights. Make sure that you create some space. All right, just like that. Okay. Now I'm gonna highlight the right side of the right portion, trees. Again, try to allow your brush to grab the tooth of the canvas so that it creates that pattern that you would not have achieved if you are simply, you know, like when you intentionally do strict brush strokes. You don't want to do that at this point because we're doing a natural subject. So I'm just making some lines, making our trees look more natural. All right, just like that. And I'm going to check my camera if I'm still recording. I am recording. All right, I really want to begin the leaves part, but okay. I'm just gonna use an old brush of mine. This one is very stiff, very old brush of mine, and I'm gonna take advantage of the bristles that are very, very stiff, and I'm gonna create some textured patterns on the tree trunks. So I'll be getting the same color, gray color, but this time I'll be doing this. just to create some patterns, okay, natural looking. And now I'm gonna get my black. I'm just gonna do the same thing. We're not really painting over that area that we already painted. We're not doing that. We're just creating patterns. Just to make things look more natural. All right, now I'm gonna use this color, but I'll be getting my blue and yellow to create some green. Now, if you have your phthalo green, then that would be great. You can use that. Again, in my previous videos, I've mentioned that I don't have green at the moment. You can use phthalo green, but I'll be using a little bit of brown, add it to my green so that it's toned down, and I'm just gonna start creating some leaves patterns. I just want to begin this right away. Again, just use the tip of the brush to create these patterns. We're starting with some dark gray. Dark green. You know what? I think I'm sleepy because it's 9:41 in the evening. We'll be adding some leaves right here. And of course, right in the background. This area will be um, blurred later. Thanks. Now I'm dabbing onto my yellow. Start creating some light greens here and there. I'm using the tip of my brush. I keep saying that because I don't want you to really press hard on the canvas. It will not create the effect that we want. It should be natural looking. Now I'm getting my yellow plus white. We want to create some light colors. Okay, I'll be adding more white so that it's really, really bright. Okay. I'm gonna get my yellows and I'm gonna add brown so that we add a little bit of browny colors. Okay, more brown right here. This is an autumn scene. I know that I think it's still winter, right? Is it still winter? I think it is still winter in America. I'm here, but you know what? In all honesty, some days it's very hot. Okay, so I'm confusing it with spring already, but it's just Feb, so it's still winter, I guess. So I'll be adding more browns. And this time I'll be adding black to my brown so that we create some dark browns. And we want to make sure that we insert that color somewhere in between. Okay, just like this. I'm gonna add a little bit of orange, but I'll be adding white to that so that it's toned down. Just like that. Okay, now I'm getting back to my browns like that. Okay, now I'm gonna get some greens and I'll be darkening it, but at the same time, I'll be adding white to it. I know it doesn't make sense, right? It's like darkening it and adding white to it. We're starting to make things a little more blurry from the distance. So I'll be adding some greens that are more of blue greens. And okay, so this will appear in the background, this color. Okay, gonna get my black and I'm gonna water it down and I'm gonna fill in the spaces that we have here in the background. It's watered down, so we're gonna spread that color here and there. We want to make sure that it will appear also thick in the background. Okay. So you can make your leaves as thick as possible, as thick as you want. Okay, like that. I'm gonna make this area more blurry later. I know it doesn't make sense at the moment, and I kind of like that it doesn't make sense at the moment because you will see the result later. Okay, just like this. Start getting it. Okay, now I'm gonna change my brush, and I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush. Okay, actually, it's an old brush again. It's also very like thick. No, not thick. Like stiff. I'm gonna get my yellow and white, just like what we did earlier, and I'm gonna go back to some areas. Remember to use white. Okay, this white will suggest light. Again, I'm using just the tip of my brush. This is very impressionistic uh, approach. Mm. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of orange and yellow just to add some. Okay, I'm gonna tone that down by adding brown and black. Mhm. I'm gonna get some yellows. And always tone it down. Okay, I'm gonna mix my brown and black just to give this area more depth. Okay, and then let's go back to doing some greens. And then let's get back to doing some tiny branches. Again, let me just remind you that some of these areas will be blurred later. We will be blurring this out later. Okay. Now using my black, I'm just going to separate some trees, okay, from each other. Slightly separating it. We want to make sure that they are separate. I'm using some watered down black. Let's add some depth. Okay. We will go back to this later. We will go back to this later. Okay. Let's just allow it to dry a bit. Okay. I'm gonna get again my green and yellow. Mm, trying to make our trees look more natural. And of course, I'm going to add tiny bits of brown because again, we don't want trees that are completely just green and yellow. We want some sort of brown colors to suggest life in nature because some leaves are going to die and some leaves are just growing. So we want to make sure that those things are present. Okay, I'm just going to apply a little bit of greeny color. Maybe a little bit of yellowy right here. But then again, this will be blurred. Later, we're going to make that area brighter. Okay. Just enjoy this process. I'm actually enjoying this one. Again, make sure that you've got browns in there. All right, now let's go to this area. I'll be using my yellow plus white. Remember to brighten this area, this side, simply because the light is coming from the right side. So this area is being hit by the light. So you want to make sure that this area is brighter. Okay, like this. I'll be getting some browns. A little bit of orange color, not too much. Okay, now I'm gonna get my yellow and white. Okay, so the leaves that fell will reach this area. I'm gonna go for white. Just like that. So the leaves that fell are very thick. I'm gonna get some green. You don't want to forget the green. You don't want to do a lot of greens right here because it's autumn. So usually the leaves that fall on the ground, they are more on the orangey, yellowy side, like dead leaves, right? And we want to make sure still that there are some green leaves. Okay, can't talk again. Green leaves that are included. You don't want to miss that. Okay, I want to add a little bit of black so that we add negative space. Okay, like that. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing over here. I'm just dabbing. Okay. Almost impressionistic. A little bit of orange, not too much though. Okay, now I'm gonna mix my yellow and white. Okay, you want to add brown to that so that it's not super bright yellow. It doesn't look natural when it's just super bright. Okay, remember to make some short brush stroke or dabs. These are just leaves. Okay, and I'm gonna get my browns. Some dark browns as well. You want to include some dark browns because some areas are not highlighted, so they will appear darker than they actually are. Let's go back to that. I'm gonna get my green color. Again, you don't want to forget there are some green colors. Mm. I'm gonna get my white. Okay, let's do some more greens. Okay, the green that will appear in between the trees should be brighter simply because the light is actually um, reaching that area. Okay, now I'm gonna make some colors on the pathway. We're not yet done. We are just like for me, this is just 40%. 40% of the work done. Very basic. I'm gonna get my white and black to create some light gray colors. So we want to make sure that we apply some light grays in between the tree trunks so that they will look more of a light gray. Like that. If you notice, I use a lot of water. Okay, now I'm gonna use my black. But this time I'll be adding a little bit of blue to that so that it doesn't appear too black. And I'm just gonna make some areas darker. Yeah, you don't want to do this too much. Okay. All right, just like that. And I'm gonna switch brush. I'm gonna use a cleaner brush. I'm gonna dab onto my white tiny bit, and we wanna highlight. This is where the blurring effect comes in. So I'm gonna use some watered down white. Okay, I'm just gonna go inside this area, trying to brighten the center. Okay, this is just a technique. Okay. And of course, we wanna brighten. Okay. Using a smaller brush, really pointy one. I'm gonna get my white, and I wanna go back to some areas that need to be. I'm gonna add a little bit of blue, okay, so that it's more blue, because light effects doesn't mean just white. They appear more blue, okay, especially when it's light daytime. It's just that I made it so blue, so I'm gonna add a little bit of white. You want to brighten this area. Okay, you want to highlight this one. And I'm gonna make some bright highlights right here. And you don't want to forget trees right here from the distance. They should be highlighted. And again, they should appear more blue. Like that. They should appear more blue, not because they're blue, but because of light. Right, just like that. Okay. Some blue effect. Okay, and we want to make sure that this area appears blue as well. Not too blue, but just a suggestion of blueness. Okay, I'll be using my palette knife later to create more detailing. Okay, now I'm gonna get my yellow plus white. I'm not gonna stop until I make, okay, more white, until we make this area really, really bright. Now I'm gonna make some tiny fallen leaves in the middle, because if you want this to be natural looking, there should not be like super clear pathway. I'm gonna add some browns, yellowy browny colors. Okay, I'm gonna add more brown. I'm gonna use my burnt umber. Just gonna use my burnt umber. Okay. Because you know what, to be honest with you guys, uh I'm watching something while doing this tutorial so that I won't get sleepy. I mean, it has no, it's on mute, but because you will hear it and that's not good, and YouTube won't allow it. But yeah, just to let you know, that's why I have my laptop right here in front of me and I'm watching some, you know, like videos just to keep me entertained. Like, I'm gonna add a little bit of branches. Mm, I'm gonna add some highlighted branches. So this means that you use white instead of black. These are highlighted, not because they are actually white, but because they are just highlighted. And some leaves will appear bright. We want to make sure that the center is really bright. Okay, we want to get our browns. All right. Now, okay, let me just correct this area. Before we do a little more detailing, I'm going to get my palette knife. I'm going to get my palette knife and let me just check my microphone. All right, so my mic is working. So I'm going to use this palette knife. I'm going to use the back to create some texture on the trees. So I'm going to dab onto my black and white. So just gray, but we're not really totally mixing it. In fact, a lot of colors that are not mentioned are included. I mean, got included as I mix the colors. So let's just create some patterns. Okay, maybe I need more white. Just gonna do the side. Like this. I'm gonna make it a little more gray. Just like that. Okay, just like that. Gonna get some black. Let's continue. Oops. Sometimes your own painting tests your patience, you know. I was grabbing my black and I accidentally grabbed my white. Okay, well, I'm a little bit sleepy. That's why I'm a little bit cranky already. Okay. Let's just make some more details. Okay, now I'll be doing some more details right here. So I'm gonna get my white, but water down. And I'm gonna highlight. I'm gonna highlight some areas, okay? Like super brightly highlighted. The sun is just too strong. Okay. And then some browns. Maybe a little bit of orangey colors. Just to make it really autumnal. Mm, I'm gonna get my yellow and white. Make sure that white is more dominant. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna use a really, really small brush. I'm gonna get my white and I'm gonna create tiny bits, hints of grasses, and also some highlights. Okay. We want to create more greens. We are not going to stop until we're okay with this. Okay. Now I'm going to get my white, water down. But since I do have a lot of colors on my paintbrush, it will appear more gray, and that's fine. We're going to make the trees look more natural. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna get my white, just tap. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna get my black, and again, you don't want to miss separating it, each trees. And we're gonna darken the left side of the trees on the right side. And we want to insert some leaves here because it's a space. I'm just going to add more leaves. And I'm just, I'm sorry, I'm just detailing the trees right here. Giving it more light play. And my voice is already changing because it's super late at night. Let's just give it a little more highlight. Right here. And I'm just gonna darken a bit this area. I'm gonna use black. Just darken a bit some areas just to suggest shadows. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, again, we want to make sure that I do have a lot of paint brushes that I use. I'm going to use a little bit of white. Again, you don't want to miss highlighting this area. Just to suggest some light. Mm. I want to use some black and some more tiny details. Mhm. And a little bit of highlight, just a little bit, just to separate the trees. Just outline it with white. Some, some colors appearing blurry. All right, just like that. Some bright greens. Okay. And then some highlights. And then some browns. tiny bit of orange right here. Using black, you can fix the shape of the tree trunks. You can add a little bit of shadowing. Mhm. Like that. Okay. Mm. Okay. I don't know how this looks, but yeah, I think this is good. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of white right here in the middle or between those trees, just to suggest light. Okay. And then I can brighten the middle section by glazing it with some white. Just brighten it up a bit. And I think I'm gonna sign this now. This is all done. I'm gonna sign right here. Maybe not. I'm sorry, guys. Let's add some shadows on some leaves. So just draw under the shape, just to make it more 3D. And of course, as you go far, the leaves become smaller. As you go here, the leaves become wider or they appear bigger. Just like that. I'm just adding more details. I mean, we've reached this point. We might as well do a lot more detailing. Okay. Okay, so I think this is good. This is done, so I'm gonna sign it now. I'm gonna write here. Okay, so I think this is done. Right, guys? So I think this is done, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And again, as I mentioned during the intro of this video, I'm gonna link in the description box below some other painting tutorials that are similar to this one so that you can choose from among them. And see you in my next one, guys. Have a great day.